Well, hello, welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, I'm Tina with Hanging with Frugal Tina. Welcome to everyone. So the other day, I was in the grocery store, and when I go in there, I always circle the meat because you never know when you're gonna find a deal. You look for the yellow stickers, you look for the manager specials, I don't know, something will pop up, and I figure the only shot you miss is the ones you don't take. So I found a pork loin that was marked down, and I have been trying to figure out what to do with it. I feel like I got something on my face. What to do with it. Months back, I made this barbecue pulled pork. That was delicious, and I will link it in this video. Hopefully I'll remember it when I get to editing it. But that's what I made with that. But I didn't want to do that again, even though I want it again, and I want it really bad. So I came up with a different thing to do. So we're gonna make a barbecue pulled pork casserole. So without further ado, let's get it, let's go. Let's see if those pots, come on. Here's what you're gonna need. Some shredded potatoes, make your own, buy your own, this way is easy. Some cheese, a cup of corn. What's funny is that was frozen in my freezer, and that's exactly what I had, a cup, no more. You're gonna need a cup of whatever barbecue sauce you have on hand. You could open up some packages, you can make it from ketchup. There's always ways to make it less expensive, but you only need a cup. You're gonna need a pork loin, got that on sale. You're gonna need some butter, salt, pepper, and onion. A way to get around the expense of the pepper and onion is run to the Dollar Tree. Get a bag of frozen peppers and onions. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get that pork loin and a little bit of water to soften it up so I can break it and put it in the crock pot. There's the tag on the pork loin. Okay, so I cut it into 3 pieces. It's still kind of frozen. I'm just gonna put the lid on it and we're gonna let it cook. It's on high for about 4 hours. Alrighty, the pulled pork's done. I know it's in a different crock pot than what I started with. For some reason, it wasn't heating up, so I had to switch it out. We're gonna get the pulled pork all shredded up, and then we're gonna move on to the rest of it. All right, so when I switched it from the smaller crock pot to the bigger crock pot, I cut it down in several pieces because I didn't feel like it was cooking quick enough or something. So all I'm gonna do is take the pork and just start shredding. It's that simple. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'll just keep pulling the rest out. All right, that's pretty good. I gotta get the barbecue sauce out. The reason I was waiting until this was all done, so I had time to get the barbecue sauce on it and let that slow cook in the crock pot while we do the other stuff. So let me get the rest out. Okay, so I have my cup of barbecue sauce. You could barely see it. I'm gonna put this in a crock pot and then I'll rearrange. All right, so we're gonna put our cup of barbecue sauce in there. And we're gonna give that a big old mix, combine it together, and then we'll be on to the next step. Ooh, that's hot. All right. Let me just get something to hold that with. The sides are hot. I can't put my hand on there. So I'm just gonna mix it and we'll get back to the rest. All right, that's the best I could do. Let's get to chopping. Okay, no rhyme, no reason to this part. You're just gonna cut it down and dice it up. That's all you're gonna do. So, however big or small, this is what I pulled the pork on. However big or small you want. I'm gonna go a little bit smaller because it's gonna cook about 20 minutes in the oven, and I want them to cook all the way through. I don't want hard pieces of pepper. So what I'm gonna do with mine is probably dice them pretty fine. Like that. That's what I'm gonna do. You can leave them big. Depends on what kind of kids you have or grown-ups you have. Some people can eat it, some people can't. Oh, I forgot to mention that this recipe does call for jalapenos, but if you watched any of my videos, not it. I'm a sissy. All right, so we're just gonna dice this up, and then I'm gonna dice up, I'm afraid I'm gonna cut my finger, and then I'm gonna dice up the onion as well. It only needs half an onion. So let's get it, let's go. Okay, I'm gonna dice the onion up the same way. I'm not gonna do the whole onion. I'm gonna do part of the onion. Now, if you're new here, you may not know this, but I have a child who's severely allergic to dairy and a bunch of other things. So I usually make a dairy one and a dairy-free one. So since this is going to have cheese in it, I have to make 2 casseroles. So I usually make it up and then I take some out for Eric before I add the cheese. So that. And I'm gonna dice this up just as finely as I diced that up. Oops, slid right through it crookedly. I wanna cut my hand. You could do as small or as big as you want, and if you don't have an onion, use onion powder or onion flakes. It'll do the same job that I'm doing right here. Oops, see how small that is? And that's what I'm doing. Okay, let me get everything else organized and we'll go from here. Get all the other ingredients out. For anybody who is new here, the dairy issues with Eric are severe, so I'm going to make his separate than ours. I'm going to be using Colby Jack, but for him, I'm going to use a blend of the Daya Italian blend and Daya Mexican blend. I'm not going to show me doing that because I'm going to do the same thing with the other bowl, but just know that I am doing the same thing over there. Okay, so make sure you spray your casserole dish so nothing sticks. This is Eric's little bowl, and the rest of it is going in our huge bowl. To this, we're just going to add all of the ingredients. Going to add a whole pepper. Only a little bit's going to go over here to Eric first. Let me mix his around just so I can tell if it's enough, because he loves his vegetables. Not likes, he loves his vegetables. Peppers. His favorite snack is fried peppers and onions on bread. Sometimes with a little bit of red sauce. Okay, that's good. So we're going to add that in there. And that is the big bag of shredded carrots. I think it's 30 ounces or 28, 32, something like that. To that, we're also going to add some onion. I add a little bit to that, to Eric's. If you don't have this stuff, you could add onion powder or stuff like that. It's not in the recipe. This is not my recipe, but I am following it. Leave a little bit out just in case I need a little more for Eric. And we're going to give that a mix. We're going to add more things, but I just want to mix in layers because just in case it gets too full on me. And I'm standing at a weird angle yet again. We're going to add a cup of corn. I'm going to add it again. I'm going to add a little bit, stir, and then add a little bit more. because it's kind of hard. I didn't get this. There's two of these. One's big and one's small. I got the smaller of the two. It'll mix better once we get in the casserole dish, but okay. Add the rest of the cord. That's kind of good. Put some in Eric's. Well, if you've been around for a little while, if you know, you know. Story of my life. I need a bigger bowl. I'm having a hard time mixing. Let me switch the bowl out. All right, so the recipe calls for a teaspoon of salt, or half a teaspoon, I don't remember, and pepper. I'm going to use seasoned salt and pepper. You mix that around a little bit first. And if it doesn't look like enough, I'll add more. But I figure recipes are recipes for a reason, right? I give it half of this, give it a mix. Well, heck, it's already in there. Give it another mix. Yeah, I could probably use more salt and pepper than that. Might have needed more like a tablespoon of it. Yeah, season with your heart, guys. That's gonna be flat as heck if there's no salt in it. A little bit in Eric's. Right now we have the same stuff going on in each bowl. Okay, so here's another deviating from the recipe. It says, well, it doesn't say to add any garlic, but I feel like it needs garlic. Garlic goes in everything, right? Because these kind of remind me of home fries. Kinda. So I put garlic in my home fries. So I'm going to add some. I just choked on my own words. That's about a tablespoon. I don't plan on adding all of it, but not about. It is a tablespoon. I measured it. Probably about a half of a tablespoon I put in there. It definitely could use more pepper, but I'm going to leave it alone. What I'm doing, you can't see me, is I smell it, and I know if there's enough in it or not. Seasonings, I have extremely high sense of smell, which makes me a picky eater, because if I could smell it, I could taste it. All right. We still have to add butter and cheese. So the recipe called for 2 cups of cheese, which is an 8-ounce block. Okay, so we're going to add that in. First, I'm going to do Eric's. I'm going to move Eric's all the way away from ours because I do not want to accidentally put something in his. So, say it's already fallen out of my cup. So, I'm going to add a cup of Colby Jack cheese. And then we're going to have to stir in some butter once all this is in here. All right, once we get that all mixed up, I'm going to add some butter. Okay. Okay. Now, when I say butter, anybody who's been here for a minute knows I don't really mean butter. I mean country crock vegetable spread. Melted. And one more mix. And then we're going to the casserole dish. Hope I'm still in frame. I gotta add a little bit to Eric's and then we're on our way. All right, let me do Eric's and get out the casserole dishes. You know, I was debating on whether or not I should keep the hash browns frozen up until the time that we cook this. Now, I don't know if it's because you're recording and it takes longer to do things. What takes you half an hour now takes you an hour. But the potatoes are melting. So bear that in mind on how quickly you can get things done. If they're, I was afraid if you bought them frozen, they would end up being mushy. So, here we go. I'm gonna add all of that. It didn't seem like I needed such a big bowl. But we're gonna add that all in it. Ooh, boy, did that make a lot of food. Holy cow. That is a mountain. All right. How am I gonna fit the, well, we'll just push it down. Here we go. I'm gonna say I need a bigger casserole dish. We're gonna try it this way. Just gonna press it down. All right, so this goes in the oven for 20 minutes at 400. And then we're gonna do, the only thing you haven't added to this is 1 cup of your cheese and your pulled pork. Trying to decide if I should put this in a bigger bowl or not, bigger dish. All right, let's get that in the oven. All right, I changed my mind. I'm telling you, story of my life. I need a bigger bowl. I need a bigger pot. I need a bigger dish. And I always need a bigger one. This is bigger than the other one. It's lower in there. It was just full. And I know I have to put cheese on top of this. And I have to put the barbecued pork. So I didn't want it right up to the top because then you can't cover it. So that's why I put it in a bigger dish. So do as you will. All right, in the oven that goes. Okay, I forgot to mention earlier when I put this in the oven, you could have done this next step and then put it in the oven, but I chose not to because I wanted it to have like a little bit of a crisp to it and for it not to be soggy. So that's what we're gonna do. So I took the pulled pork out of the crock pot and we're gonna spoon it over top of the casserole. Trying to spread it out as evenly as I can without burning myself because everything's hot. The meat's hot, the pan's hot. I've already done Eric's. It's sitting on the side, get ready to go back in the oven as well. Let me spread that around because I don't want to stick that spoon back in there because I might need it for Eric. Maybe not, guys, maybe not. He's got plenty on his. He just likes pulled pork like me. So I try to give him extra when I can. I don't think I can today because I had to stretch this over 2 dishes. Okay, on this, you could add your cheese right now to it. I think I want to add a little bit of barbecue sauce. Just drizzle it down over top. This is an extra step. I'm making this up as I go. I just feel like it would be yummy, yummy, yummy if it sat on top like that. And because we like barbecue sauce. All right. I forgot to measure the other cup out. I'm just gonna grab it out of the bag. And we're just gonna lay some down over top of it. That's it, guys. That's going back in the oven. As soon as I finish this last little handful, that's going in the oven. And when that's all melted down and bubbly, we're eating. One more little sprinkle. I don't know if that was a cup or not, but I didn't have very much in my bag to begin with. All right, back in the oven she goes. If you get any benefit at all from my content, you can help me out by clicking like, share, commenting, and definitely hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. And there goes Eric's, the dairy-free. Let me get ours out of the oven. All right, here we go. Let's see what's going on. Woo! Booyah! Look at that. You see those lines? That's the barbecue sauce I drizzled underneath. That's what I was going for. So we're gonna let that sit for a minute, and then we're gonna be eating. So I'm gonna meet you at the plate. And there's my plate. I'm gonna meet you at the table. If you get any benefit at all from my content, you can help me out by clicking like, share, commenting, and definitely hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. We're at the table. Let's just dig right in. He didn't want any sour cream, but he munched on his green beans before it even hit, but there's plenty more. So we're just gonna go in. Oh, hold on. We let it sit for a little bit so it can be palatable. Hold on, Eric, I just gotta make sure mine's not too hot. Now it's good and warm, but it's not burning hot like it was. Ready? Mm-hmm. Let's go. Mmm. 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 Got me doing a jig.
That's delicious.
Mm-hmm. I love pulled pork.
Wow.
You put it on a stick, I'd probably like it. That's good, right? Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna try it with a drop of sour cream because when I was reading, some people wanted sour cream with it and some people didn't. So I'm not, like I say, I'm not a fan, but I can tolerate it sometimes. Like I like it in a baked potato. Eric doesn't want any. Get all the way down to the potato and some meat. All right, here I go. It's actually kind of good. It's got that little twang in the background for like the sour cream or cream cheesy taste. That's what I don't like. But it's actually pretty good at first, and then, I don't know. For me, the sour cream, the whole dish here, that thing right there, that's a 9 for me. I love it. Sour cream, 7. What number would you give it? Be honest.
Give it an 8, but it's really good.
8? That's a good number. I'll take an 8 all day long. All right. Well, let me give everybody else. Well, I can't talk. Let me get everybody else fed, and we'll see what they think. Bye-bye. Dinner's over. How'd they do? Boom! Could not finish it. Let's see what they thought about it. Who's closest to me? Oh, it just tripped. Aiden, what'd you think about dinner?
It was wonderful.
Eric, what'd you think about dinner?
It was delicious. I will eat it again.
Yaya?
It was lovely and it tastes very good.
Tyler?
It was great, fantastic, love you. It was very good.
Got a whole mouthful of compliments. Nikki baby.
It was amazing.
Amazing. Alrighty, so Trey didn't eat yet, but I do have his plate put up. This is not Trey's food. I really enjoyed it, but I really enjoyed barbecued pulled pork. Like I said before, you could put it on a stick and I'll think it's good. So, but everybody else thoroughly enjoyed it. I will try and tag the video about the barbecued spaghetti, because that was banging. I don't even know another word to say for it. So there you have it. Hope you try it. Hope you like it. See you later. Bye.